this was an impossible character. Nat Love was, and kind of what was being asked of him. All the people he got to interact with. That just seemed unreal to me.
Congratulations on the film. And it looks really amazing. But what made you drawn to this movie?
Wow, what drew me to The Harder They Fall?
Yeah,
When I read it, I felt this was an impossible character. Nat Love was, and kind of what was being asked of him. All the people he got to interact with. That just seemed it just seemed unreal to me. And then
yeah,
you add on top of that it's a all our heroes, all our characters are part of the African American, or I guess the African diaspora. And I thought, well, that's just a beautiful thought. And I'd like to be a part of that. Um,
mhm,
I'd like to be a part of that.
absolutely. And the story is a fictional story, but it's with real characters based on cowboys in the 1800s. So, what did you know about Nat Love before taking this role?
Oh, Nat Love, what did I know about him? Honestly, before taking the role, nothing. I had
Right.
heard the word, right, or the pseudonym Deadwood Dick before, and hadn't put them together in any way.
Yeah.
And even then, Deadwood Dick was a notorious name in general, in the time, and I didn't know that it was to be attributed to Nat Love. Um, so I didn't know much about him. However, I knew that we were there. We
Yeah.
existed in
Yeah.
that time, in that occupation, in that way, doing those things, in those places. I did know that. I myself, I'm from Texas, and we've always had. I mean, horses have never been far from us. Cattle, uh, chickens, roosters, all that stuff. That's not. It's never been.
Mhm.
That's not novel for me growing up. And if it's not novel for me, I'm sure there's other people from the same walks of life that it's not novel for.
Right.
Yeah.
And with this film, it has an all-star cast, and you get to work with some very talented people, including Idris Elba.
Yeah.
What was it like working with him? Because he's kind of the antagonist in the film, and you're the protagonist. But what is it like working with Idris?
What's it like working with Idris Elba? I mean, his the magnitude of his presence is beautiful, and he has such a command over his energetic um, output. I've watched and I've felt it ebb and flow in a scene, in a moment.
Yeah,
Um, I remember in the final scene, actually, he said something to me. Actually, said something to our director James, and he said, we got to get that. And then talking about something that's happening, on the other side of the camera, in regards to performance on my end, that he
yeah,
was seeing something that I was doing, and he felt that he wanted to make sure that that was in the movie, that kind of big brothership, that kind of looking after the film and looking after, the younger actor, the younger man in the moment. Um, so that's a little story about, how tight we became. There's also elements of, he's a storyteller. He's a storyteller, and he's a very physical storyteller. And there are certain things that he brought to the table that I just was like, yeah, that's gonna be great. I'll roll with you on that.
hmm
And vice versa. So it's so interesting because we wanted to start, and never meet until we did at work, on set, and that just became impossible because one, because of the climate in which we were making it,
right.
the pandemic, etc. Uh, that we just had to be close to each other because we were allowed to, and we needed to rehearse and we needed to do all these things, and we were living in the same town, So we established this really nice relationship, this really nice energetic relationship where we could be, partners at one point, and then, in the discussion of it, and then become, find ourselves in beautiful opposition, which was great. The hunter and the hunted, and we kind of changed those roles throughout the day and throughout the
Yeah.
scenes. You know, yeah.
Absolutely. And you mentioned you were from Texas, and I read that you grew up in that kind of rodeo culture. So, were you a big fan of Western movies growing up? And if so, what were some of your favorites?
Well, rodeo culture kind of comes around like, I mean, everyone got a big family, right? My cousins and them still to this day are kind of rodeo guys, but I split my time between our farm down home and Dallas.
Right.
Um, but what did I know about the culture of cowboys, etc.? Is that what we're getting at?
Oh, I
Uh,
guess I just read, yeah, something along those lines. But
yeah,
yeah,
and the western and the idea of the
right,
western. That's what I'm
right,
saying.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Well, I knew the western. I knew the western because my grandfather and my granddaddy used to watch them all the time. Used to
Yeah.
love westerns. My mother, also like her favorite show growing up, and even I guess not growing up while I was growing up, was Little House on the Prairie, and we would just watch that all the time, all the time, all the time, all the
Hmm.
time. Um,
Yeah.
and then you watch a western, or you watch Little House on the Prairie, and then you go outside and you walk around with your grandpa, or driving back home to Dallas, and you'd see the world that was on the TV, to a degree. You know,
Hmm.
uh, it was different for obvious reasons. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't see too many black folks, in Little House on the Prairie,
Yeah.
or
Oh,
what
yeah.
have you. But the things they were doing were similar.
Of course. And with this film, and other than the obvious, as you mentioned, what can fans expect from The Harder They Fall, and how is it different from other Western movies?
Woo! What can you expect from The Harder They Fall? You will be entertained, I believe, with The Harder They Fall. It is a
Yeah,
full on. It is a buffet of entertainment, a buffet of catharsis, a buffet of historical relevance, and zeitgeist contributing factors. The music is music that we're offering so much in the piece, right? We're offering to cinema in general this way of shooting, this very traditional, purist, avant-garde way of telling a story, and we're also doing that in a very classical genre with all of these incredibly relevant, hungry, aggressive artists, right, on
yeah,
screen, and then we're adding in music that is for everybody, made by
yeah,
some of the most, if not the most, pivotal members of that genre, and I'm talking about music. The contributions that were made to this film. Um, I mean, governments could learn from us. You know what I mean? The
yeah,
things that
yeah,
the way we cooperate in order to build the story. The
yeah.
way we collaborated in order to chisel out this statue that is The Harder They Fall. So you will get a lot. I mean, there's a lot there. If you want gluten free, watch this scene. If you want meat, watch this scene. If you want, it's all
Yeah.
there.
Really quick, I have one last question. Uh,
Yeah.
I love all your projects so far, and you've done a great job. But you're also King the Conqueror, and you're part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Really quickly, what was it like? What was it like been working with Paul Rudd and just being part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
I mean, Paul, we're doing, yeah, yeah. Paul is our leader, and he's awesome. It's an awesome energy, and to be a part of the MCU it's kind of a dream you didn't know you were having.
Yeah,
As a theater kid, I've joined a huge company, of these incredible art makers. That's from cinematographers to my fellow actors to directors. You're part of a company now,
yeah,
and that feels really good. Very much like the old days. Old days.
yeah.
With these theater troops. So it's cool.
All right, awesome, man. Well, again, congratulations on the movie. Thank you so much, Jonathan. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, no doubt, my bro.